My video and thumbnail caused a stir online. Let's get into it on the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. How's it going, everyone? I hope you guys are having a freaking fantastic day. I appreciate every single one of you for joining me today because I just want to have a serious talk. I want to have an honest conversation, and I want to have a real conversation with you. If you want to support my show, the links are in my bio. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show to be a contributing member. It's $3 a month, or you can do a one-time fee, whatever. But I'm going to do exclusive content that's against, YouTube and all that stuff soon. And I appreciate you, those who give, because I put a lot of time and effort into this, and it means a lot to me. It's like it's you looking at me and saying, you know what, I appreciate your work you're doing. Here's $3. Here's a cup of coffee, if you will. But let's get into this thumbnail. So I had a lot of people that were pissed off at this thumbnail. I had a lot of people mad at my video that were clearly didn't actually watch my video, because I talked about PTSD the whole time. But that's a product of our culture, isn't it? It's to see a thumbnail, it's to see a title, and then automatically bring our bias, our tribe with us, and just start arguing about nothing that has to do with the content. We take everything on surface level these days. We don't actually look at the facts. We don't actually look at the context. We just go, well, if this person said it, or if this title reads this way, or if this picture looks this way, or if this person did this thing, then therefore equals this. As opposed to just doing research or saying, I don't know for once in your life, and stuff like that. Like I'm okay with saying to somebody, when someone has a question or someone has a comment regarding something that's going on in the world, I'm okay with saying, I don't know, or I'm not that great of expert or person that I don't feel comfortable with myself knowing enough about the information to actually have a conversation about this. I would like to hear from you, because we need to get back to that in our culture of saying I don't know, being okay with I don't know. But we need to get back to being okay with emotion. And a lot of people mad at this picture saying this doesn't dignify Kyle in any way. I mean, I had people call me racist and white supremacist and a horrible person and you should kill yourself and all kinds of stupid stuff online about this Kyle Rittenhouse thing that I put out, which I don't care about that. And then I had the whole other side of I can't believe he uses thumbnail because it shows it's just not dignifying, and he's a true patriot and he's a hero and he shouldn't have used this and stuff like that. My video was about PTSD, was about emotion, was about coming back to the humanistic side of life, was about taking politics aside and seeing a kid weeping on the sand, being forced to relive a moment of trauma, a real trauma, which I know he brought a gun and used it for self-defense and stuff like that. He wasn't going around, pointing it at people. I'm sure he didn't think he was going to kill someone that night or be threatened to death and had a gun pulled on him. A lot of people are giving their take on this as if they would know what to do. Like I saw Chris Cuomo, is it life-threatening situation? I don't know. I don't know. Have you ever had a gun pulled on you and then somebody saying, F you, I'm going to kill you? That's pretty life-threatening, I would think. What's more life-threatening? Him actually pulling the trigger and you dying? I guess that is more life-threatening. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your awesome take. That's why I'm focusing on the PTSD. We need to get back to a culture where this is okay. Showing emotion is okay, especially an emotion like this is completely involuntary. We need to be okay with emotion. You can't control your emotion. When you try to control your emotion, it gives you more anxiety and it stresses you out because you can't control emotion. You can control your thoughts and you can control your actions. but you can't control emotion. That's why when you talk about comedy, people get mad. This is violence and stuff like laughing is involuntary. You're not like, I wonder if that's funny. Oh, it is funny, actually. Yeah. Kyle Rittenhouse went through true trauma and experienced it on the stand, and I wanted to put it on display. Not to mock him, but to show the humanistic side of this kid. Because for far too long, he has been made out to be this white supremacist, stupid kid that doesn't give an F about life. He went to a bar underage. Oh my God. The horror. You know what? I went to bars underage too and got drinks. Oh my God. I'm a terrible human being now. It's not like I can't change. It's not like I can't grow. It's not like I can't learn from it. Or maybe I was just a dumb kid. I'm not saying what he did that night was like this brilliant idea. I'm saying he went through true trauma, and he's also a freaking kid. I would do the same if he was white, Asian, Hispanic. I don't care. But he's been portrayed as an evil human being. And I don't see that. I think when you see evil, you can feel it because there's a lack of emotion. And lack of just honest communication. You can feel it. I still see people talking about him looking around at the trial, looking around at different people, at his lawyers. And again, I don't know if you've ever cried in front of a crowd like that, been on stand, being accused of being a white supremacist, murderer who killed a bunch of people and was just willy-nilly pointing guns when you know in your heart that that's not the case. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation. I'm assuming you haven't. I probably look around too because it's embarrassing. It's scary. You're vulnerable. You're scared. Also, you're just being asked to relive a very traumatic event. But I want to be in a culture. I want to encourage men, kids to be okay with showing emotion, showing actual real emotion. This idea that you have to act like your life is put together all the time, good vibes only, bro, is not real life. Especially when you go through trauma. Just get over it, bro. You'll be fine. Just keep moving on, one foot in front of another. That's okay. It's okay to do actions like that, but also know that there's going to be times in your life, especially when you experience trauma, that you're going to have emotion and you're not going to be able to explain it. Because the way our brain encapsulates stress and it builds over time, and then we release it in different ways. And Kyle released it on the stand, and then people mocked him for it. Even LeBron freaking James. Screw you, man. Seriously, screw you. The fact that you're a superstar at that level, making that kind of money, and you're mocking some kid like this, screw you. I want us to be a society that is okay with showing emotion, okay with things like PTSD. Because when you mock it and when you say, don't show this kind of emotion, people with actual PTSD, like veteran soldiers, are scared to come out and say, I have PTSD. I need help. Because then they look weak. They look like this. And we need to be in a culture and a society where that's okay to be vulnerable, to be weak, because that's the only way you grow in life. Is through being vulnerable and humility is the only way you will grow. Not being prideful. Who wants to be friends? I'd rather be friends with somebody who is humble and vulnerable over somebody who's prideful and acts like their life is put together all the time. It's like those people that you know in your life that are just like, yeah, everything's fine. Or I know a lot of Christians too. They're like, oh, praise Jesus. Things are going great. God's good. And you look at their life and you're like, dude, you're going through so much shit right now. There's no way you feel that way. Just be real with me. I'd rather be with someone who's vulnerable and honest. Maybe cries in front of me. I don't care. No, like, bro, stop crying for me. It's making me uncomfortable. It's making me actually have to address my own issues. It's making me have to address my own emotions. I don't want to feel, bro. Just good vibes. Let's talk about the game, bro. God. I used to be like that. So I have grace for people like that. I do. I know there's a culture out there that's afraid to show emotion, that's afraid to show vulnerability, to cry, to be angry, to be sad, to actually say, you know what, I am depressed. You know what, I do have anxiety. You know what, I am mad at what you did. I am mad about what my parents did to me as a kid. I've been suppressing this for so long. And we need to be a culture that stops encouraging suppression of emotion and just moving on and actually maybe talking about some of that emotion. And maybe people like Kyle, maybe people that need help will actually get help instead of just being like, I don't want to actually tell people I'm going to a therapist, because good God, how people will view me it's just embarrassing. And you might push back, Derek, I'm not going to a counselor because those counselors are kooky, bro. I'm not all about crystals. I'm not about yoga. I'm not, making noises with crystals. Like I said about every business there is out there, there are businesses that suck and there are businesses that are fantastic. There's good coffee. There's crappy coffee. There's fantastic burritos. There's crappy burritos. There's good beer. There's shitty beer. There are all kinds of levels of this stuff. That's why I encourage people. I think everyone should go to counseling at some point in their life. Find a good one that meets, that uses a theory that you can get on board with. But instead of not being afraid to show your emotion, being afraid to say, you know what, I am angry about the past. I am angry about what's going on. I am angry about blah, blah, blah. We just rather suppress it, because I'm a conservative. I'm right wing. Put your bootstraps on, bro. Go to work. Get a life. Stop doing drugs. Stop drinking. It's not that easy. A lot of us have a lot of trauma. A lot of us have a lot of emotional baggage that we need to get it out. And we need to be okay with showing emotion. And I'm not saying that you need to be vulnerable and show emotion all the time. Obviously, there's people out here that are listening to this and are like, oh my God, he just wants me to be over emotional. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you need to find a healthy balance. You need to be an emotionally healthy human being in your life in order to find freedom, in order to find joy, in order to be more yourself, is to find ways to be emotionally healthy. If you know deep down in your heart and your mind that you need help, go get help. Stop being afraid to show your emotions. Stop being afraid to cry. I'm not doing this to mock Kyle, as I've constantly said. I'm not doing this to... part of me did it to make people feel uncomfortable, because this is what PTSD looks like. See, I'm comfortable in this situation because I hang out with people like this all the time. But a lot of people aren't. And a lot of people just don't want to even address these issues in our culture and society. There are people out there with real depression, people out there with real anxiety, people out there with PTSD, and it gets dumbed down by media, it gets dumbed down by our culture and suppressed and pushed. And it depends on what political party you're about, whether you want to talk about it or not. It's just ridiculous. And so I want to show the humanistic side of this trial because, like I've said constantly on this podcast, the media portrays people as freaking robots constantly, and then they paint people in red or blue, and then they say, look at this white supremacist kid who's hanging out with Proud Boys. He's freaking 18 years old. Do you think he's has a great head on his shoulder? He's going to be a nurse. Fantastic, great stuff. But I was dumb at 18. I did silly things. I did things I probably shouldn't have done. If a group of people were excited about me at 17, they wanted to take me out for drinks, I would go out for drinks too. And they were celebrating me while the rest of the world was calling me racist. The president put out a picture of me saying white supremacy, constantly talk about white supremacy is this big issue, and you think this kid doesn't have emotion? You think this kid's not scared out of his mind? Not about prison, but about everyone and how they hate him, and they can't come up with a good reason of why they hate him besides obviously racism, media bias, your tribe, your political affiliation. They just feel like they need to hate him. I just hate this guy. Let's come back to the humanistic side of life, please. I don't know if this is a product of our culture. I don't know if this is a product of a godless society, of an anti-religious society, of an anti-moralistic society. I think you can make a very strong case that it is. Don't be scared to show emotion. Don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to look at somebody at a different political affiliation other than yourself and look at the humanistic side of life. Again, you push back and say, Derek, you make fun of some people though. All my jokes are silly and just goofy. I'm not trying to be malicious. I'm not trying to hurt or break people's will or their emotional capacity. I'm not trying to break them and make them look weak and stupid and awful, unless they're, a-holes and they need to be addressed. You reap what you sow in a lot of ways. But a lot of my jokes on this channel are just pure silliness. Somebody called me childish the other day. Yeah, I am. I'm a child. And I think politicians, like John Kerry said today at the environmental conference, when was asked about, when a woman asked him, so you've been talking about China, did you talk about China and their slave labor when it comes to solar panels and stuff like that? Did you talk about that with them? He goes, look, I'm not the guy to talk to you about that. I'm the environmental guy. That's when you know your humanistic lens is gone. You can't even look at slave labor, child labor, and call it out. Look, I know that the Nazis were doing terrible things, but I'm the environmental guy. I'm not going to say anything like, stop this concentration camp madness. The audacity of some of our politicians, the audacity of some of our media, and the way they portray you and me, those without power, those without elite status. If you have elite status, you're probably accepted by the media, you're accepted by mass swaths of people in the fringe. They love you. But as I've said constantly in this podcast, my podcast is for the person that can look at Donald Trump and say, you know what, he did good things. That can look at what Biden did and maybe say, oh, that's not that bad. It's for people that can actually just look at truth and go, or have a good argument to why they believe what they believe and be okay with having, a debate or a conversation rather about what they believe. And then we walk away as friends. I'm not here to just bite someone's head off. It's not me. It's never been me. As always, I've said in life, it's not about having the right answers. It's about asking the right questions. So if you want to get somebody on your side, you ask the right questions. It's not presenting them with the right amount of facts. If you need help, go get help. Don't be afraid to show your emotion. Don't be afraid of someone else showing their emotion. And then when they do show emotion, when they do say things like I experience trauma, or I experience depression, or I experience anxiety, or I'm crying in front of you, don't run away. I know, even if you're a dude, don't. Learn to be okay with emotion. Learn to be okay with showing your emotion, because it shows that you're a freaking human and not a gosh darn robot. All right? May we get back to being a society that's okay not being okay, but also not being okay staying that way. Seek help. Find a good counselor. Don't just go immediately to a psychiatrist and get drugs. I know a lot of people. I don't know why a lot of people are more okay with going straight to a psychiatrist to get some drugs rather than talking about their emotions, because emotions are uncomfortable, because it shows our vulnerability. But again, as I constantly say, if you want to grow in this life, if you want to become stronger, is to put yourself in vulnerable circumstances. It's to humble yourself before another. That is the show of strength. People that walk around, act like everything's okay and they don't need help ever, those people are weak. Those people deep down inside have a lot of issues they haven't talked about. Let me know your thoughts on this podcast. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Let me know your thoughts on the last video. But I just couldn't help it, man. I just couldn't help saying something about yesterday's podcast because it caused a storm. I mean, I didn't realize how many angry people there are out there about this trial who don't know anything about what's going on in the trial. Even the Young Turks girl came out and said she apologized and got it wrong. Have some balls and say that you can say you're wrong too. It's okay to be wrong. It's actually healthy. I say it all the time. It's the only way I grow. It's the only way I learn as a podcaster. It's the only way I learn as some of my bias and my political affiliations that I tend to lean more towards. If I'm constantly going, it's my way or the highway, and I don't want to listen to any other argument ever, you won't grow as a human. And we won't grow as a society. And we won't learn to communicate with one another, people who are different than us. And I think that's important. Let me know your thoughts. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. If you need help, let me know. DM me on any social media platform. I'd be happy to help you. Because sometimes we don't have anyone that we feel comfortable to talk to. But I don't know. I feel like in today's society, sometimes we feel more comfortable with people we watch on a podcast than we do with people in our own lives. Because we feel like we know them. We feel like we can trust them. And I hope you feel that way about me. Yeah. Have a great day. I'll see you on the next episode of the Derek O'Shea Show. Bye.